Praise the Lord. Hallelujah. And thank you, Jesus. Is around that time right here on KAZ Radio, where one of my newest favorite shows, Conversations with Auntie, hosted by Tanya Lynne. Take it away, Tanya.
Hey y'all, this is Tanya Lynne. Welcome to Conversations with Auntie. In Conversations with Auntie, we have real talk about real life. When you talk to Auntie, you can tell Auntie everything. And so on this show, you're going to tell Auntie everything. We're going to keep it real raw, and sometimes it's going to be righteous. Our special guest today is Mike Berry. He is a dear special friend of mine. He is a filmmaker, a director, a producer. He has had Billboard charts. He is a phenomenal actor, a trainer, and just a wonderful person to know, and so much more. He is a motivational speaker and an awesome and consistent advocate for mental health wellness. Mike, welcome to the show.
Hey, how you doing? How you doing? Glad to be here.
It is good to have you. And so today we're going to talk about mental health and intimacy. And when I threw the subject out to some people, they automatically thought I meant sex. But see, they don't understand that intimacy, it's so much more than sex. You have to be intimate with your children. You have to be intimate even with your coworkers on a certain level. And so, with that being said, let's just talk about your mental health journey first off and give people some of what Mike Berry is about and what makes you so passionate about this subject.
Well, I've been dealing with depression and anxiety for close to 25 years, and I advocate for it because I remember a time where I thought I was the only person dealing with it, and it hit me at a time when speaking on mental health was not the norm, and being a man, a black man, it just wasn't something I was comfortable about talking about. And again, I thought I was the only person in the world that felt this way. And so later on, when I decided that, hey, I'm strong, this thing can't just be the sum total of my life. I felt that I wanted to advocate for it and speak for people who didn't have the courage to speak for themselves. And then it just kind of picked me to talk about it. And now it's like my salvation. Like I get to be therapy to others, which is also therapy to myself. So, yeah.
That's good. That's good. So what you're saying is as you help someone else, you're also helping yourself. So I'm feeding you, but I'm feeding me at the same time.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. A lot of times when I talk, man, I tell people it's for me too. Sometimes, that the things you say to yourself, especially when you're dealing with mental health, are often very abusive, very, degrading. It's that negative self-talk, that defeated mentality sometimes. So sometimes I'm preaching to people, I'm testifying, I'm motivating, but I'm also talking to myself because I need it. And being that I'm an advocate, I don't always hear that from other people because they just feel like, oh, he's Superman. Look at all the stuff he's doing. We don't need to talk to him. So sometimes I just got to talk to myself and tell myself what I need to tell myself.
That is so important to speak self-affirmations over yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I even tell people sometimes, get the little sticky notes
Mm-hmm.
and write on the sticky notes, I am enough. And if that's
Mm-hmm.
all you can say
Yeah.
every day is I am enough, put it on your dashboard. So when
Mm-hmm.
you get in the car or on your steering wheel, you see it. Put it on
Mm-hmm.
the refrigerator, put it
Yep.
on the bathroom mirror, put it on the dresser. And I even told somebody, put it on your ceiling. So when you
Yeah.
wake up and look up, you have your affirmations up there.
Yeah.
Because
I actually have an affirmation on my on my bathroom mirror that's been up there about 6 years. It's never came down. It's still up there right to this day. It's still there.
and it's working. And
Yeah.
it's working.
I mean, anybody who come in my bathroom, they got to see it. I know they probably wonder, like, what is that?
Yeah.
But it is what it is, Yep.
What is that? And also, you never know. I tell people, and let me just preface this. The reason I had to do this today, I could have rescheduled, ended up being diagnosed with COVID. Um, but with mental health, because I'm a survivor of mental health as well, I had to today
Mm-hmm.
because the thoughts will say, oh, see, it's not going to work. See, you're not going to succeed.
Yep.
See, you can't do
Mm-hmm.
it. And so I had to press today. And so
Mm-hmm.
even though my voice might not be the best, I got a voice today. I didn't have one yesterday or the other days, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so sometimes, even when it doesn't look pretty, you still got to
You
do it
got to
when
do
it's
it.
ugly.
Yeah, you got to do it. Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. You know that
Yes.
that's that defeated type of mentality where your brain is just telling you. You start thinking of all the things that can go wrong, like it's impending doom.
Yes.
So sometimes you gotta fight past that and just keep pushing, because you got no proof that this doom is impending. It's just your brain telling you, oh, it's gonna fall apart. It ain't gonna work. You got no proof of that.
Yeah. We worried
Yeah.
about the what ifs and they don't even
Yep.
happen.
They haven't even happened yet. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And half the time they won't happen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so with that being said, let's talk about let's get a little more intimate now. I'm a widow, but when I was married, there was mental health issues, not just on my side, but on my husband's side.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I had some insecurities and um some things that they come out sometimes in a relationship or in a marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And based on those insecurities, sometimes when somebody violates certain areas of a relationship or a marriage,
Mm-hmm.
that can heighten those insecurities.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
have you ever experienced that in some of your relationships?
Well, most relationships. I mean, because you already feel um just defeated. Like I give you a case in point. I had one relationship where this girl loved me to death. She really was trying to help me, but I was actually jealous of her, and
Mm.
I wasn't jealous that she was cute. I thought I was cute. I wasn't jealous that she was popular, or had a little bit of money. I could pay some bills and I was popular. I was jealous because she could be happy and I couldn't. Like she could be
Mm.
I just couldn't do it, so she's smiling all day and being jovial, and I just couldn't. It just made me jealous. Like, it was just the weirdest feeling. Like, man, I want to be that, and I couldn't be. And so, I ended up pushing her away because I just felt like I'm gonna bring her down because I
Mm.
I'm not there. You know what I mean? And so that was intimate. That's a serious intimacy issue that I had where you get with somebody who's quote unquote whole. You know what I mean? They got their problems, but it's difficult when you can't produce happiness freely.
Woo! That's
Like
good. That's
you
good.
know, yeah, we take for granted that when you wake up in the morning, every time your eyes open, you take for granted that your limbs gonna work, that you're gonna be able to walk, talk. You take for granted that. I woke up one morning and felt this grieving feeling that's been here 25 years. So imagine just waking up one day and you just can't produce the level of happiness you used to produce. It's the oddest feeling. Like, it's not like I'm just bummed out all day, but it's just not the same. It's sometimes I have to work to be happy versus it's just free flowing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I got to be cognizant not to bring the mood down, to blow the mood.
Mm-hmm.
I have to tell myself this is a moment with this female or whatever. Let's talk about intimacy. Don't go down that rabbit hole. Because once you go down, we just down the rabbit hole and it's all bad from here.
Wow.
So I clearly know about, what intimacy, what mental health can do to intimacy.
You said something. You said 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
How many of us suffer long and don't suffer strong?
Come on now. Yeah. Yeah.
We're existing and we're not living. We're existing and we're
Yeah.
not appreciating. We're existing and we're not enjoying. It's like we just
Hmm.
go along to get along.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you have to reason how you reason. And I just keep telling myself, I got a friend that's dying of cancer. You think he wouldn't swap out with me? He 3 years in. They gave him 5 years. He about 3.5 in. So you, it's even though I feel what I feel, I try to reason like Mike. His name is Fat Boy. Fat Boy would swap out with you in a minute. In a minute. You feel me? Like there are tools in place that I can use to help cope with it. And you know, if this my pound of flesh, this my cross to bear, it is what it is. Like, you know, I don't like it. But it happened to me. It happened. You know,
Ooh.
you got people, you know, just think of those girls who Ariel Castile had in their house. That happened to them. Um, Somebody gonna get in a car accident. That happened to them.
Yes.
You know, like this happened to me. Like of all the things that could have happened, I still can walk. I can talk. I hate that it happened, but in the grand scheme, a lot of other things I could have got. You know, I could have got paralyzed and been in a wheelchair these 25 years.
My God.
You know, because that happens. Somebody been in a wheelchair 25 years paralyzed. Facts.
How about somebody was born with no legs? Fact.
Facts. You see
Come
that girl
on.
just on the news I saw was a police chase and a car crash.
Yes.
Broke the 1-year-old's neck. She'll never walk or talk again. You think she wouldn't swap with me or her mother wouldn't swap? Like, oh, would you know, so I got a reason.
That's all you dealing with? Let me
Yeah.
let me
Yep.
take that. You know, we always say our cross is so heavy, and people say this, and some people take it as a cliche, but it's really true. God
Yeah.
gives the toughest battles to the strongest soldiers.
Yeah.
You don't always feel strong, but he did what the senior saint, so to speak, would say.
Yeah.
He don't put no more on you than you can bear.
Mm-hmm.
And so if he brought me to it, that meant he knew that I could get through it. And sometimes what happens is we don't understand just being still and waiting is doing something.
Mm-hmm.
And in our stillness and in our wait, we can get clarity. But we feel so overwhelmed. And in the African American community, and especially concerning the African American male, to say that you have a mental illness, to say that you need help, to say that you see a therapist is frowned on and is looked at as taboo. How do you handle that?
Well, you know, I'm comfortable with it. You know, I feel called, you know what I mean? Like the way I feel called to testify about my life. Just mental health, prison, molestation, just all of that. And so it doesn't bother me. And luckily we are in a time where, you know, talking about it is not shunned upon. But when this first happened to me, it was I never even heard the word depression. Never heard it.
Wow.
If I did, it was a passing.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know nobody who had it, and I didn't even know what I was dealing with until somebody talked about a girl at my job being depressed, and I said, "Well, what is that?" And they explained it, and I was like, in my mind, like, that's me. And so I try to speak for the people who scared to speak or who just don't know that that's what they're dealing with. And it's a lot of people out here dealing with depression and anxiety, and it's unchecked. You know, it's a lot of people out here who feel that their mental health is healthy. How would you know? You went to the eye doctor, check on your eyes, whether they was bad or not. You went to the primary, got blood work done, went to the dentist just to see if you had cavities. You just take for granted that your mental health is intact. You got no proof of that. You think it's intact, and you just be like, the things you're doing are normal. But at some point, I realized that it was like a common thread, and going back to intimacy, it played out in relationships. Every single girl said this until one day I had to be like, man, there got to be some truth to that, because they all saying it and they don't know each other. Either they conspiring or it's some truth to it. But at first I thought they was conspiring, like, y'all must know each other, y'all. So
right. Y'all had a conversation.
Right. Yeah.
And that's another mind game that happens with us. That's a part of that insecurity. That's a part of the wrong conversations we have with ourselves.
Thought errors. They call thought errors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I recently started telling people? Stop binge watching your mess and your mess ups. Like if somebody says, hey, have you ever watched The Biggest Loser? No, I ain't
Mm-hmm.
never watched it. Oh, you need to watch it. You get motivation to lose weight, da, da, da. And then when they start watching, they got to binge watch to catch up to where that person is in that show, in
Mm-hmm.
that series. And too often we binge watch certain areas in our life. And unfortunately, the areas that we seem to keep binge watching are the ones that weren't so kind, weren't so
Mm-hmm.
easy, weren't so pretty, weren't so nice. And the
Mm-hmm.
more we binge watch it, the more it kind of inhibits us from being who we're supposed to be and living
Mm-hmm.
in our moments and living in
Yeah.
our moments.
Yeah, you're right. I agree.
Living in our
Yeah.
moments.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's go here. So how has depression, mental health, how has that affected your relationship with your children?
To be honest, you know, my children, if I told them, well, they came to a movie premiere where we talked about it. But other than that, they didn't know because I worked hard to make sure they didn't feel that. So when it was time to go to Disneyland and Six Flags, wherever we went, it was time for me to laugh, whether I faked it or whatever I had to do. They wasn't gonna feel that. They wasn't, you know, I always pulled myself together to be what I needed to be for my children. So
Mm-hmm.
they wouldn't have knew. They when it came out, especially my older ones, they was like, I never would have knew that, you know,
Mm.
because I just couldn't do that. And I was
Mm.
cognizant of the fact that that could happen. And I was like, I'm not gonna let that happen.
Okay. So you were intentional
Yeah.
concerning them.
Yeah, very. Yeah. In a way that I wouldn't be intentional for a woman. You feel me?
Okay.
You know, like not saying I didn't care about the woman is different. You know, like I knew that their future was gonna be built on things I showed them or told them or did. And I had to make sure that those things got showed, told, and did in the correct way. So, like I
Mm-hmm.
said, you know, if I had to smile, I sucked it up and I smiled. You know, I can remember being at like Cedar Point in a straight meltdown all day, but we not leaving Cedar Point. We got to do what we got to do because
Right.
this is for them. You
Right.
know, I can't. I'm in here like in straight, you know, meltdown mode. But I got to pull it together, rough it out, and when I get home, I can climb in that bed and do what I got to do. But here, this is important.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And I like what you said. You said like you wouldn't be for a female because the relationship that we develop, the intimacy that we develop with our children, it sets them up and it teaches them how to receive and how to give.
Correct.
And they learn from the environment in which they're in, and that the
Right.
environment they have no control over.
Right.
And so we as the adults, we as the caregivers, we are responsible to be intentional
Mm-hmm.
concerning what we pour in, what we sow into them,
Come
so
on now.
that
Yeah.
they can pour it out,
Mm-hmm.
and,
Mm-hmm.
and they know how to do this thing
Mm-hmm.
called life. So you said that they saw a movie. What was the name of the movie?
It was called Pressure. It was a documentary called Pressure.
Okay.
Um, and I actually interviewed you in that documentary, and my mother, uh, my ex-wife, friends, they was like, man, I never would have knew that, or you told me that, I just didn't know that this what that was. Like it was this intense or this, you know what I mean? Like so,
Mm-hmm.
you know, um, nobody would understand it. And I tell people, man, it's not a pity party. I don't need to be pitied. I'm just giving you the facts as they are. It's been times I've been hurting, so if I might have came off, touchy or it ain't personal. You know what I'm saying? It's not personal. It's just sometimes it's just it feels like it's beyond my control at this moment. Let me pull myself together. You know what I mean? Like I know you want to love me back, but not, sometimes you just can't. You gotta let me just be. Because you're aggravating me, really. You gotta let me just be for a second. Cause I know you think you helping. Come on, get outside, get some air. Like just let me pull it together, And it's just a state of it. So, I haven't been in a relationship since 2014, 2013. And so I know that's one of my biggest issues that I have with myself is that because I didn't want to face that, I kind of just pulled back from that and just been busy working. How you think I got so much work done? Because I just poured into that. But now I'm at a space where, you know, somebody gonna accept me for the way I am. And I mean, because this ain't no way to live either. You know what I mean? Like not facing that intimacy and not, letting somebody, who am I to say what somebody can hold or deal with or whatever,
Yeah, yeah. And I think, and when we talk about intimacy in a relationship, like just beginning to try to open ourselves up to develop a
Mm-hmm.
relationship, one of the things that I know that sometimes makes me a little hesitant is, do I really want to be bothered?
Right.
Because if I'm going to accept you for who you are, I need you to hear me and accept me for who I am. Because, like you, sometimes there's nothing wrong. I just don't want to be bothered.
Right.
I just need today to be me, to be my
Mm-hmm.
day.
Mm-hmm.
And having to be married, that's one thing that my husband did understand, that sometimes I just needed to just maybe go to the lake by myself.
Mm-hmm.
I might have just needed to go for a ride by myself. And it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't long or anything, but I just needed my moment or my
Mm-hmm.
moments.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what we fail to realize is love language.
Yeah.
Everybody has a different love language. My love language might not be yours. And
Mm-hmm.
instead of us finding out what that other person needs from us, we give them what we think they want from us.
Mm-hmm.
And so it boils down to having a way to effectively communicate as well,
Mm-hmm.
and to understand what the other one is really saying,
That's, yeah,
and what they
facts.
really need.
Yeah, facts. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I definitely agree with that. You know, as far as like love language, I feel like, when you dealing with mental health on any standpoint, sometimes although I know what their love language is, my brain is not causing me to do it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so, that with me personally, it's keeping me like, and I'm a transparent guy, so it's not like they don't know, but I just like now I'm at a point in my life, I gotta just face being a level of vulnerable, and y'all know how open and transparent I could be, that I haven't been. It's a level that I done kept to myself, and this just talking man woman,
Yeah,
because I just like, man, I can't take a crushing defeat.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
I
yeah,
just I lay all everything out. I just
yeah.
but I got, you know what I mean? Like I just don't have a crushing defeat in me. And so that's been keeping me back, but I can't, I'm like telling myself, you can't think like that. You got to go into it. What's going to happen. And we'll deal with that then. And, but the clock is ticking, man. No, man was made for woman, woman for man, whatever. Everybody need a co-pilot. You know what I mean? So I have to just open myself up to that and be okay with that.
You know, my husband passed February 21st, 2010. And I've tried to have relationships, um, but them ships be sinking fast,
Yeah.
because the tolerance level that I have is zero. And it's zero for certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then when that happens, and there's a whole conversation that comes with that. See,
Mm-hmm.
they're not paying attention. See, they don't care about you. See, because if
Mm-hmm.
they did, they would listen. See, and then what happens is then you just don't want to be bothered.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
But well, I've learned that sometimes that could be a self-sabotaging behavior where we find something wrong with everybody to justify why we not doing what we supposed to do.
hmm
Because we ain't gonna find nobody perfect. My mama always say you got to crack a few eggs to make an omelet.
that's
So
right.
the first egg ain't one. You go to the next one, to the next one. Pretty soon you're gonna get an omelet. But if you keep finding something wrong with everybody and thinking that maybe it's you, meaning you just being too picky. Like, I know I've done that, but I feel like the self-sabotage behavior I was putting in place to justify why I didn't want to deal with these feelings. You know what I mean? Even though I'm saying I want a relationship, I'm self-sabotaging one when I get it so I can go back into my shell and feel okay with myself. Like, well, I tried it, but you know, she do this and I ain't having that. I mean, I'm, like little stuff, I knew I was petty. Like, you just being petty. That's petty. So
That's so true. That is so true, because but then on the other hand, sometimes it's not being petty and sometimes it's not sabotaging. Sometimes you do have valid points. I try to tell people, when you're ready to get in a relationship, there should be some key things that you will not, that are not negotiable.
Oh, for sure.
And then what happens sometimes, where I'm at now, I'm so ready and so willing to be flexible, but sometimes certain things are non-negotiable. And I don't know if the mentality that should go into a relationship in this time
Right.
is understood by all.
Right.
I hear young ladies saying, all men are dogs. No, you just a dog catcher. Because I don't believe all men are dogs. All men are going to cheat. No, I don't believe that all men cheat. All the men but all the men I know don't cheat. And then men say women are just gold diggers and they just want what's in my pocket. No, not all women. And I think sometimes when you're already dealing with a mental situation or some insecurities, sometimes stuff like that just holds us back.
Well, I would say when it comes to deal breakers, what's the word I can't remember the word you just said. Certain things you just like deal breakers.
Yeah, deal breakers. Yeah.
Most deal breakers is universal. Most of them. Like, it's kind of understood. You're going to have a job. You're not going to be talking to me crazy. You're going to respect me. But it's, I got to know when self-sabotaging behavior is causing me to be petty. You know what I'm saying? And calling my petty a deal breaker. You know what I'm saying? Calling my petty a deal breaker. Because if you're not careful, you'll never strike a deal, and you're gonna just die by yourself because you're never gonna strike a deal with nobody. So, and it's not that I'm willing to like just give in to long as you are who you are at your core, everything else you gotta just look at it for what it is and be like, I can rock with that.
Yeah.
That's not what I prefer, but this person at their core, I'm talking about their value, their moral compass, everything. And I'm not talking about jeopardizing who I am either, because I'm not doing that. But I'm willing to, my way not working, so I'm willing to change some of not my core beliefs. I believe what I believe, but some of the things that I see, as it relates to intimacy with other women, I'm willing to look at it differently because it's not work. It's skewed. It's skewed. It has to be.
Yes.
So some of the things I call deal breakers, when I really thought about it, they was petty. That's petty. That's real petty. You know what I mean? Like, that's too many things. And I know I know deep down, it was just self-sabotaging behavior. I know it. And I gotta stop that because I don't let a few good ones get past me. But I try to say it is what it is, but it'll be another one.
Yeah.
And so at some point, anybody dealing with mental health has to reconcile what's going on in their life, come to terms with it. The instant you can come to terms with hey, I might be dealing with this thing on some level for a while. You could, it's better. It's like going to prison. My first day in prison, my first week, my first month was very hard until I came to terms with the fact I wasn't going home for 7 years. It got a lot easier.
Ooh.
It got a lot easier. How you think somebody can reconcile being in jail for the rest of their life and not go crazy in there? You gotta reconcile it. So I had to just tell myself, Mike, 25 years is a sample size long enough for you to know that A, you can prosper while dealing with this. B, it's not what it used to be. And C, you might be dealing with this on some level for the foreseeable future. So it ain't stopped you. It hasn't stopped you yet. So man, just take it for what it is and move forward. But you know, me as it relates to intimacy, I be feeling like, man, I don't want to dump this on nobody. But I'm not a dumper.
Come on.
I'm not even a dumper. So I just don't. I personally feel like, um, flawed and all, somebody gonna take me for just how I am. But I gotta let them take. I gotta be I gotta be receptive to that and not shut down and go back to self-sabotaging behavior, which is
Oh,
familiar.
wow, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. So at some point in time, you just got to be okay with not being okay, and that's
Yeah,
okay.
like
And that's
I'm,
okay.
but it's not that I'm not okay. I give you an example. You see a guy walking down the street, and then let's just say he get his legs broke and he have a permanent limp. He's still gonna walk to the store. He just ain't walking like you saw him walking last week. He know he limping. You know he limping, but he needs to go to the store.
Right.
Same thing. I know I'm not the Mike Berry I was before 1997, but that can't stop me from getting from A to B. I still
Come
got to get.
on.
It just looks different. It just gonna look different. So and in my brain, I imagine it as catastrophic. Like this looks it don't. Because other people, they find courage in it and be like, man, I find courage in what you're talking about. I accept you for just how you is. I love you for just how you is. It don't bother me if it don't bother you.
My gosh. My gosh. So it don't bother me. So in a relationship, and so when we're getting into relationships, let's talk about on the job. Has it? I worked a job about 10 years ago, and I swear the supervisor was bipolar. Man, like you could, you knew.
Yeah.
And you knew if it was the children that set them off, if it was the spouse, if it was something that you just knew.
Right.
And we could tell how they were, oh man, today is gonna be one of these, and everybody would just start sending out, the email, or you have your work
Yeah.
and stuff and whatnot. Yeah, you would just start sending it out and whatnot. I'd be like, oh my good golly, Miss Molly. And so then they're gonna say, well, Tanya, you need to go talk to him. Why I gotta talk to him?
Right.
Because you the one that's the pastor. You gotta go talk. No, they were just so, and so what I did one time was I invited them to lunch on a weekend. And I said, hey, why don't you join me for lunch? That, da 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 da. And just in that conversation, there was so much stuff. We just simply start unpacking the suitcases. Unpacking the suitcases because they were carrying too much stuff from their past. And and it was almost as it wasn't almost, it was infecting their present. And aborting their future because they
Right.
were just stuck in the suitcase of the mess, you know. And so have you ever come across? Oh, well, not have you ever, because I know you have. How do you, or what are some of the things you do to help people unpack their suitcase?
You know, all I can be for you is a safe space. I can't help you unpack that suitcase. It's just too, all I can do is be a safe space. That's it. I can't do nothing else. You know what I mean? Like, I can't do anything else for you because, when we talk about unpacking the suitcase, at the After the unpack is happiness. That's just it. We want to put all. I'm not responsible for your happiness. You're
Oh
not
no, you no.
responsible for mine. I
Mm-mm.
can't. So I can't unpack your suitcase. I mean, all I could be is a safe space for you, where you feel like I can do this. I can unpack. It's
Mm-hmm.
the reason why anybody gets with anybody. You feel safe with them. So
Mm-hmm.
if you got trauma of any kind, it's a man, or if you're a man, it's a woman who will unpack in front of you. And after that unpacking, they can see the happiness in the suitcase. But I can't unpack the suitcase for you. I can
Mm-hmm.
merely just put you in a position to get you to see that I'm not going to judge nothing you pull out that suitcase.
That's good. That's good.
So that's all I can do. I can amplify your happy, but I can't be responsible for it. It's too hard.
Mm-hmm. So we can't uh, again. So I am not. Ooh, listen, this is good. I am not responding. You know, I know some of the answers to this, but I like it when somebody else puts it in their words as
Yeah.
well. You know, I like this because I heard somebody recently say, "He completes me." That
Mm-hmm.
bothers me. When I hear a man or a woman say, "He completes me" or "She completes me," so that does that mean you were not completed?
Right.
They should enhance you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the two does become one, but they
Yeah.
should enhance you.
Yeah. No. Nobody can come. The only people who can complete you had to be born from you, because they're gonna be there forever.
Come
You know what I
on,
mean? Like you can't. You can. You. We get divorced. So what? You don't complete me no more. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to be my kid. That's the only person who can say that. Like, no, I ain't going for that. That's no, absolutely not.
mm-mm, mm-mm. And then
Um,
if the person does something, then what happens now? Because they completed you, now you what half of a person
yeah,
because they,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
because you're
yeah,
upset with them, and like you
yeah,
said, happy is based on happenings. And
yeah,
so if it isn't happening the way you want it to happen, then you
mm-hmm.
have an issue with that.
Yeah,
And so you have to, as something that you said, we're going to backtrack. You said you're intentional
yeah.
about what your children see.
Oh, for
And
sure.
so, you know, you make sure there's something else that you do. You say you live life on purpose,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You gotta live on purpose. You know.
you know?
You know. Yeah, yeah. You gotta. Everything you do have it's intent. It's the same thing. It's you like relationships is intentional. Everything is intentional on purpose.
On purpose.
Um, yeah, on purpose. Yeah, on
Yeah.
purpose. You
It
know.
has to be intentional. It has to be intentional. It
And
has to be
if you talking mental health, it really has to be intentional because some of it isn't second nature.
right.
So you got to be real intentional about what I'm doing because it's not second nature because it's a block.
Mm-hmm.
It's a block.
Mm-hmm.
So I you got to be present as much as you can, because like sometimes with you dealing with depression, anxiety, sometimes you can feel like almost out of body. Like I'm here, but I almost feel like I'm levitating, looking at this whole parade. Like it's just the oddest feeling, like you're not present.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes you got to be intentional. Like, man, come on back, stay here. You know, you know, all these errors you having in your thinking, they not real. There's no proof that these things you think gonna happen, gonna happen. Matter of fact, it's proof to the contrary.
Yeah.
There's no proof that you a loser. You've done too many great things. It's no proof that you gonna always be lonely because you've had people in the past. You just for some reason it didn't work. It's no proof that you're not gonna thrive. It's just no proof in that
Mm-hmm.
whatsoever. But your brain can also, has a way of saying, uh, it's just doom.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Those binge watch them conversations we did binge watching with
yeah.
ourselves.
Well,
You
you a
know.
gaslight yourself. You got to
Yeah.
be
Ooh.
careful that you talking in your brain to yourself, gaslighting yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Your rational mind is in conflict with your depressive mind, I guess you want to say, and the depressive mind is gaslighting the rational mind by manipulating and making you feel things that's gaslighting, just like a person gaslights a person. So, and I just posted that. Be careful what you say to yourself, because you can actually be gaslighting yourself.
Yeah. Self-destruct.
Yeah.
Self-destruct. Now, you recently did a movie called A State of Mind. Talk on that and what motivated you to do that?
Well, that was part of my trifecta. I wanted to do a documentary on mental health, a movie on mental health, and a book on mental health. So that was 2 of my 3. I'll get to the book when I get to it. But I wanted to tell a story from somebody who understood. But if you watch The State of Mind, the state of mind is less about depression and more about how people view it. Not just the person who dealing with it, but everybody around them. They see it different. You can tell somebody exactly how you feel. That don't mean they're gonna see it different. Even though I told you exactly what I'm feeling, for some reason your actions make them see it differently. And so I just want to tell that story, and definitely try to reach somebody's heart who might be dealing with something, think they're dealing with something, or somebody who is dealing with something, and just hey man, this is what it is. But you can still go on.
I think the movie was wonderful because what I enjoyed about the movie is how it showed that a man is still strong even when he needs to ask for help.
Yeah, well, I tell everybody, the famous Harriet Tubman picture with her and the people behind her. Everybody can't be Harriet freaking Tubman.
Come on now.
The man in the back had a job to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, he pulling up the rear. The lady carrying the baby had a job to do. So sometimes you as a man, me as a man, that man cape got to come off sometimes. Like, I need to be, hey, you lead right now. Let me fall back for a second to collect myself. You feel me? And this goes to intimacy. If I'm intimate with you like that, and I know, the man is the leader, I get all that. But sometimes, hey, I trust you enough. Take this wheel for a minute, for a hot second.
That's right.
And let me collect my thoughts, because if I try to live with this invisible Superman cape, this Harriet Tubman attitude, like I'm in the, we gonna get there. Sometimes it just don't work that way, and it's again a self-defeating attitude. Sometimes you got to relax, fall back, and allow yourself the time to feel.
Yeah,
it's a time to feel, and it's a time to deal. Sometimes when it's time to feel, you got to fall back, relax, and search your feelings and feel them. When it's time to deal, you got to man up. Like, I got to man up. Whatever I'm feeling, I can't do it right now. I got stuff to do. And I got to deal with. I got to deal. Let me do this. Whatever it is I'm doing today, when I come home, I can crash out on this pillow and cry and eat chocolate all night if that's what I want to do. But right now, I got to deal with life as real life exists. And unfortunately, life ain't stopping for me. I got to do what I got to do. I got to do what I got to do. So,
and it doesn't mean that we can't allow ourselves to feel the effect of life.
Right.
But what it means is we don't allow it to stop us from being effective rather, in life.
That's right.
So you can feel the effects of life, but don't let it stop you from being effective in life.
Yeah. Oh, life is gonna life.
And life is gonna life its best.
When and guess what?
Mountain, when you on the mountain, life is gonna life its best and gonna pull you back down.
And guess what? Life been lifing harder lately than life used to life. You hear me? Life been life.
Thank God that we can still life with the life that's life while it's life while we live it.
Man, listen. Life is life and hard right now. But it is what it is, man. Like, if you just look back at the grand scheme of things, we here, man. I'm 52 years old. I didn't think I was gonna live to see 52. I didn't think I could manage. When I was 26, 27, I was very suicidal. I didn't think I never thought I'd be 52. Never. It's
Yeah.
no way I imagined being this age. I didn't see that coming. You know,
Wow.
it was a hard task, but it speaks to the strength I had that I didn't think I had.
Mm.
You know, and just a better understanding. Like I know at one time we start looking at money and stuff like, man, I want to be more financially all this and all that. I tell people, man, I just want peace of mind because money, money ain't it. Because if I had $1 billion, I'd give you all of it to take
Mm-hmm.
this away.
Mm-hmm.
All of it. You know, Robin Williams had plenty money. Kate Spade had plenty money. Heath Ledger had plenty money. You
Mm.
know, and so I just tell people, man, just live your life righteous. You know what I'm saying? Do do what you said you was gonna do, how you said you was gonna do it, and let the chips fall. Give it your best and let the chips fall. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and just if you got peace of mind, man, I'm glad for you.
Ah.
You know, I'm glad for you. And just but everybody is on their own journey. I'm on this journey and I'm embracing it as best I can. It's a fight sometimes. I ain't gonna hold you, but I know that I've done some amazing things in my life. I'm proud of myself. My friends is proud of me. My children are proud of me. And if I die today, people gonna, man, he died gunning.
Yes.
He died gunning. He was at it the whole time, and so it's some power in that to me. You know what I mean? So most of the time, you got to go easy on yourself. It's me who beat me up. It ain't
Mm-hmm.
it ain't external forces. It's usually you. And that's part of the whole mental health component. It's this that other voice that's just telling you ain't nothing. You a
Mm-hmm.
loser.
Mm-hmm.
You know. And for some reason, we give him this validity. We make what he's saying valid somehow,
Mm-hmm.
even though the external world is showing and telling you the exact opposite.
You know what I tell people to do? I tell them, I say, get a journal, men and women. When I'm talking to them, I say, get a journal. And in that journal, write down your goals so that you can
Mm-hmm.
see them. And then soon as you accomplish one, put the date that you
Mm-hmm.
accomplished. And when you start having those moments when you feel like you're worthless or feel like you're not accomplishing anything and
Mm-hmm.
feeling like, nothing's working out, pull that journal out and look at
Yeah.
the track record.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you
Yeah.
just got to look at the track record, look at
Yeah.
the history of he took you, he blessed you with this, and he blessed you with this, and he blessed you.
That's right.
So stop stressing and count the blessings. And so look
Come
at
on.
the track history,
Yep.
look at the track
Facts.
record, pull it out. And then,
Facts.
because sometimes you just got to be reminded. And the
Right.
best reminders when you look at what you've accomplished and look at what he's done. I know for me, I was living my life and life decided to life with me in a different way. And one day I woke up and I felt different.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't put my finger on it, but something was a little off. And I was like a little more tired. And as the
Mm-hmm.
days went, it started getting worse. And then I started having pain. And about 2, 3 months later, excuse me, was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis.
Mm-hmm.
I knew nothing about that. All I knew was Kim Sellers had it. And I knew that she was, in a wheelchair and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Life, how life is going to life. But what we do, our response to it makes the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Makes the difference.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, okay, well, this has happened. I can't
Mm-hmm.
give up. This
Mm-hmm.
has happened. You got to fight or flight.
Mm-hmm.
Fight or flight. And I
Come on
refuse
now.
to flight. I'm going to
Come on.
stay and fight. And so I
That's right.
chose to fight. Now, 6 years later, well,
Mm-hmm.
actually, it's 7 years later now. 7 years
Mm-hmm.
later, I'm not that person I was then. I'm so much better.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I was at the hospital Saturday with a really bad MS crisis, I'm so much better than I was then. And if I would have took the flight and not fought, man, I don't know if I'd been here today.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I've been here today. And so sometimes we have to just look back at what God has already done for us
Mm-hmm.
and know that if he's already done that, he can surely handle this.
Mm-hmm.
He
That's
can
facts.
surely handle this.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe that my faith has helped me even deal with depression in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
Because then when you begin to see yourself differently, you really don't care how others see you then.
Come on. Yep.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, when you begin to say, I'm not a failure, you
Mm-hmm.
don't care if somebody else calls you one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not ugly. You don't care if somebody else thinks you're ugly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I am somebody. You know, you don't care if somebody doesn't think you're anybody. You
That's
know,
right.
and
Facts.
so if we change our way of looking at ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we can even begin to change certain circumstances and situations in our life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, everything is worldview. You know, the two most important things is how you see the world and how you think the world sees you. And, you know, again, when you're dealing with mental health, sometimes everything is a little skewed. It's like looking at life through some dirty glasses. I can't
Mm,
see, I'm not seeing it right. Because I can't see it right, it's hard for me to think, to feel like it sees me correctly. That's how I see
mm,
mental health, you know.
mm.
Um, and you try to correct your worldview, like, man, just the way you see things and the way you think people see you. And sometimes it's a challenge. But you gotta just take it one day at a time and don't beat yourself up when your mental health gets the best of you. You can't beat yourself up because that's a rabbit hole. You really just gotta fight through it, live to fight another day, and we're gonna take a day. Man, sometimes I gotta go minute by minute.
Woo, second by second, bro.
Yeah, like, hey,
Second
that's
by
all I'm
second.
holding on minute by minute. I can't even think about tomorrow. I'm trying to get till 7:01. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't even thinking about 7:05. I'm just hanging on till 7:01, and it's hard. But again, it's not a pity party. When I advocate for mental health, and it's not a pity party. I'm just giving you the facts. This how I feel sometimes. This how I felt, and it is what it is. And sometimes it's tough. But it's people out here who they can tell you about tough.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? They,
Yeah,
in the grand scheme of things, they can
yeah.
tell you about tough. Like, you want this tough? I'll take your tough. You want this? And
Let's go back to the lady whose daughter, the
come
police
on now.
chase,
Yeah.
police hit the car. The mama's in the hospital fighting for
Yep.
her life, and the
Yep.
baby with one
Yep.
month old will
Yep.
never walk. So
Never
they
walk
say,
or
so
talk.
they say, will
Yeah.
never walk again. So there's a lot of people that will change places with
Yep.
any one of us at
Yep.
any given point in time.
That's right.
At
That's
any
right.
given point in
That's
time,
right.
a lot of people ask me, well, how do you do it? How do I do what? Giving up
Right.
ain't an option, baby. Quitting ain't an option, baby.
Right.
I ain't gonna give up on me, baby. I ain't gonna quit on me. That ain't no
Right.
option, baby. I might
Now
have to
quit.
pause. Might
Well,
have
let
to
me
take
tell
a
you something. Quitting is an option. It's just an option you can't choose.
nap.
But
Thank
it's
you.
it's definitely an option. We've been lied to. Quitting is an option. People do it every day. It's
They
just
do.
an option we can't choose.
We can't choose it.
We can't
We
choose it.
can't.
And sometimes, people who are dealing with mental health have at times made permanent solutions to temporary problems.
Say
And
that
it's
again. Permanent solutions to temporary
temporary
problems.
problems. And they quit, in its totality, quit. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it's people who've done it. And I've been there. Like, man, it'd be a lot easier if I wasn't here
Yeah.
on everybody,
Oh,
or I'm just tired, I'm hopeless, I can't, this ain't it. You feel me? I've been there. I done counted to two quite a few times.
hey, I didn't count it to one.
Yeah, with full knowledge of what comes after two.
Come on.
And I tell people all the time, it's just the strangest things when people commit suicide. People be like, he wasn't in his right mind. I said, you crazy. He was absolutely in his right mind because he knows full well what comes after two. The most totality that you're going to experience comes after two. Clearly, somebody
Clearly.
go, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just the strangest thing. It's just that every time I got to two, I just found the courage to go one more day.
One
And
more
that
day.
one more day. That one more day, I felt a little better the next day. I'm gonna give it one more day. Felt a little better the next day. Next thing you know, boom, it's like the clouds. They roll in, thunderstorm, they roll out. Some people can't weather that thunderstorm. It's just too much. I know this thunderstorm gonna roll out. I just gotta be patient.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you know, hey, sometimes it's like Hurricane Katrina. It's too much. And those is the times that get people because it's not rolling out. It's just steady coming. It's
Right.
coming. It's not rolling out. And you know, it's just a tough position. But I definitely can empathize, sympathize, whatever, with people who've taken that route. And I don't condone that, but I've been there.
Yeah.
I've been there. Like
I tell people all the time, you know, people are quick to judge certain other people's actions. And unless you've walked in their shoes, you don't understand their pain. You don't understand the weight of their hurt, the weight of their pain, the way, you know, and the best thing we can do is I remember one time I told somebody that I was tired. I can't take anything. I mean, it was just so much at one time. And they said, but you're so strong. I'm telling you, I'm weak right now.
Come on now, you ain't listening.
I don't want to hear you tell me I'm strong.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I'm about to fall apart. I'm like Rice Krispies. I'm snap, crackling, and popping, baby.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and people don't want to hear what people are saying because they don't want to hear that pain. Because I think too many of us are suffering in silence.
Mm-hmm.
And so for someone to acknowledge your pain, then they got to acknowledge their pain that they've been masking.
Yeah, that's right. Facts. Yeah.
But you know, it's okay to serve God and still say, I need to see a therapist.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure.
It's okay to serve God and still take a pill.
Yeah.
I said this in Pressure, in the documentary Pressure. When I was talking, I said, one moment. I said, we either trust God for everything or we trust him for nothing. So if you can take your insulin for diabetes, if you can take your pill for high blood pressure, if you can take Viagra for erectile dysfunction, you can take a pill to help get everything balanced so that you can operate and function emotionally and mentally. Because some people need that to help them.
She went to the erectile dysfunction.
I went to erectile dysfunction. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Yes, your sister did. Yes, she did. Yes, I did.
That tickled me. That was a good one.
Because they're going to take, listen, baby, they're going to take that pill, bro.
Man, you're going to do what you got to do.
You're going to do what you got to do. Somebody they crazy for taking a pill or seeing a therapist because they need to get their mind right.
Oh, yeah, you got to do what you got to do.
Head rests on the body.
You got to do what you got to do.
Yep.
You got to do what you got to do.
Well, bro, we are about to go. I had a wonderful show with you. I thank you for being my first special guest.
I appreciate it.
With Auntie and everybody. I will see you next month on the third Wednesday at 8 p.m. Take care, be well, be blessed, and smooches.
Later.